Hey guys, I'm Jody with Board Game Perspective. I'm super excited to bring to you today Genotype, a Mendelian genetics game, sent to us by Genius Games. And this is a 1 to 5 player game and ages around 14 and up. So this is going to be a worker placement dice drafting game, which comes with a lot of really colorful, pretty dice. And you are going to be acting as a research scientist, trying to validate different traits, and you have a garden of pea plants. And you got a lot of stuff going on here. That's a lot of fun. We're going to do a brief overview of how to play, and I'll come back up with my final thoughts. In Genotype, the goal of the game is to validate the different traits on your pea plant cards by choosing dice that have the matching trait. Now, this game is played over 5 rounds, and each round consists of different phases. You have the working phase, where you're putting out your action markers. Then you have the plant breeding phase, where you're going to be choosing dice to validate traits. And then lastly, you're going to be having the research upgrade phase, where you can upgrade various things to help you in the future rounds. So let's take a quick look at how to set up. Now I've got this set up for a 2-player game, and before we get started I want you to know that some of the components here are actually the upgrade components. For instance, the action markers here are screen printed. We got metal coins, some extra tokens, this clock tower for the round tracker, and just a few other things. The base game comes with some more cardboard components and no screen printing on these markers. Just a few differences there. So each player has their own player board, and each player starts with 3 cards, and you have to choose to put one into one of your plots, keep one in your hand, and discard the other. Everyone starts with some starting supplies. You got some cards out here, the tool cards and then the pea plant cards based on player count. You got dice over here, coins, and a bunch of other things. And you'll also put out coins on each of these spots here located on the board. So we got 5 rounds here to play, and then like I mentioned earlier, we got 3 phases. The first phase being the worker phase, where you're going to be placing out your action markers on various locations and taking actions. So everyone has their own spots they can go to on their player board. For instance, you have gardening, where you can place a worker there. And this is where you can grab a card. You can harvest any pea plants you have in your plots that have been completely validated, which that means all of these traits on the card would be covered. And so this you could harvest and score those points. And then this means you can put a new pea plant or some more pea plants in available plots that you might have. And then everyone also has these temporary dice slots where you can place a worker there. Now during the next phase, this will be an extra spot where you can place a die, and this over here are places where you can place die during the next phase as well. Now on the main board that everyone shares, there are spots where you can go to take more coins. Here at the university, you can pay coins to immediately validate a trait on one of your pea plants. You can go to the nursery to draw some cards that are out here and or from the top of the deck at random. And same thing with the tool shed down here. You can go down there and draw some cards as well. Down here, you can pay coins to set a research goal where you will choose a spot that you want on the phenotypes here. Let's say I want to go here, and then now at the end of the game, I will score 2 points per each of these genotypes on any completed pea plant cards that I have. Now, if you place a marker on any of these first shift areas, you will get to choose first from the dice that will be in these spots in the future phases. And if you go on any of these spots here, this will allow you to change the parent gene tile. So there are different options. You can choose which side you want it to be, and you can put it out here, or you can also remove one that may be there. Now, whenever you place a worker on one of these first shift places or on one of these locations here, the first player to go to either of those spots will get that coin. And then you can go to the second shift here, which will give you an earlier pick than other people, but it has to be after the first shift though. So after the working phase is the plant breeding phase, and this is where you're going to roll all the dice of each color and sort them. So for instance, we rolled a 3, so that is going to be a big F, small f, so that's going to go right here. We rolled a 2, which is going to be big F, small f, so we go there. We rolled a 4, which is 2 small f's over here. Now the first time you roll these de novo mutations, you're actually going to re-roll them both once. So I happened to roll numbers again, but if I had happened to roll that yet again, then this would go here, and then you would continue sorting the other ones. After all the dice have been sorted, then the players are going to take turns choosing dice, starting with the first shift, then the second shift, and then turn order. After all the dice have been sorted, then players are going to take turns choosing dice, starting with the first shift, and then the second shift, and then turn order. So let's say it's Blue's turn here, and they want to choose one of these die. So we got this big F, small f. So what you can do is you can put it in one of your slots that you have open, and then you will grab the corresponding or trait marker and cover the corresponding trait that you chose from. So big F, small f, and then you would cover that there. Now let's say it's Blue's turn again, and they really want the 2 small t's, but there aren't any here. So what you could do is grab one of these de novo mutation die and use it to mutate something to become this. So what you would do is you grab this die and another one. Now you had to have 2 slots available on your player board, and then you can make that become any trait of that color. So then I could cover up a 2 small t's. You can also always choose to use the de novo mutation to get a coin instead of a trait, but you still have to have a spot open on your player board. After the plant breeding phase is over, then you move on to research upgrade phase, which deals with this area of the board. And this is where you can spend coins to buy permanent upgrades to help you throughout the game. Some of the things you can purchase are new plots, so you can get this other dice slot. This is a permanent spot that you have for the rest of the game. You can also get an extra plot where you can put pea plants. You can also get an additional worker, an action marker for the rest of the game, and then you can also hire assistants. Now the cost for each upgrade is listed here. So for instance, this new plot, right now the cost is 2 coins. Now whenever you buy something, then this actually increases the cost by 1. Now with hiring assistants, there are multiple assistants that you could potentially get. However, at a time there's only 3 available. Now I will say that these assistants can actually provide very powerful benefits throughout the game. So after those 3 phases have been completed, then the round is over, and you're going to do a little round reset, starting with moving up the round tracker by 1. Then the first player marker gets passed clockwise. Then you're going to move these markers all down by 1, so the cost has been decreased at the end of each round. And then you're going to discard the remaining cards, put out new ones. If there are any empty spots here for the coins, you will put out new coins there as well. Then each player will take back all of their action markers. All of these dice will get put back off to the side here. And it is important to note though, if you have any of these parent gene tiles out here, those will remain from round to round. Now the tool cards are one-time benefits, and there are multiple that let you do different things and modify rules of the game. For instance, the grant. This you can, when you're purchasing research upgrades, you can discount the cost by 2 coins. The seed bag lets you draw plant cards, keep some and discard some. A rake lets you take an offspring die to validate any trait of that dice color instead of using the die normally, so mutating it. And there's others as well. So after the 5th round, everyone's going to tally up their points, and whoever has the most points is the winner. And you can get points by the completed pea plant cards you've done. You also get points for any leftover trait markers on incomplete ones. You get points for coins, and you also get points for the phenotype research goals. Alright guys, so I think this is an excellent game. Now this is the latest game from Genius Games, and we played quite a few of them at this point. I think this is the best one to date, and this is by far my favorite one of theirs to date. Now given, yes, this is a little more of a gamer's science game compared to like the lighter ones like Ecosystem or Periodic Table Elements 1. Those are a lot more simple and easier for younger kids. This is definitely a little bit older kids would need to play this one, not younger. But I really enjoyed this game. There's a lot of different things to like about it. First, let's just talk about the aesthetic. I mean, it's just so pleasant to look at. I mean, everything about it is just beautiful. And I love the dice, you know, all the fun colored dice. It just makes me happy because I love dice. And then you got the little pea plants, and the board's nice. Even the back of the board is like this really nice artistic scene. I appreciate the small details that, you know, publishers put into their games. So I played this game with several people, and everyone that has played this game with me, when we're done, they say they really like this game. Just because it's just such a pleasant experience. I mean, everyone has their pea plants, and you're trying to, you know, validate, and they're just gorgeous to look at. And I mean, I feel like you can't go wrong. Even if you don't like this theme per se, the gameplay was still really fun as well. I mean, you got the worker placement phase, and you have dice drafting where you're trying to validate your pea plants. And you know, if you get assistants, you know, those can be really powerful, and you can use assistants to help, you know, manipulate some of the rules. You know, then you got the research phase that lets you, you know, upgrade stuff. I think this is definitely a solid gameplay. So yeah, even if you don't like the theme, you might want to check it out, because this is a good experience. Now, I know for me, I'm a little quirky. I really like the plant breeding phase just because I like sorting all the dice based off the Punnett square. Like, you know, I love just sorting. So, you know, that's just me. Most people probably don't like that. But a couple times when we played, I played with a friend who liked to place out a lot of the parent gene tiles that kept messing me up. So it was increasing their chances of getting what they needed, but it kept messing me up. So these parent gene tiles definitely can come in handy. Yeah, so I mean, overall, I think this is a really positive experience, a really good game. I think the best game yet from Genius Games. Definitely worth checking out for sure, especially if you like worker placement and dice drafting. This is a must try in my opinion, because it's just good all around. So that kind of wraps up my thoughts for Genotype. If you found today's video helpful, go ahead and click that subscribe button and like this video. And thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.